Welcome to the MyWritingLab tutorial. In this tutorial, you'll learn how to use the different features of your MyWritingLab course space. To log in, go to portal.mypearson.com/login. Your username is going to be your Columbia State email. And after you sign in, you are going to see the sections of Learning Support English that you're teaching this semester. You'll notice that I'm teaching 2 sections. You will also probably notice that Shelley's name is down below those. Never fear, those are in fact your courses. Her name was just on the master course that they populated these with. Before we move any further, you probably want to go ahead and disable any pop-up blockers because a lot of the features in MyWritingLab do open in new windows. One other thing that you probably want to do is to go ahead and bookmark portal.mypearson.com /login, so that sign-in screen that we saw previously. All right, and so in order to access your course, you are just going to click on the title. And you'll notice on the left-hand side that you have a navigation kind of pane or menu. And on the right-hand side, you have the course homepage. All right, so luckily for us, the instructor's version of MyWritingLab looks like the student version. We just have access to some features that the students do not. For example, over here where it says Manage Course and it's got this little person with a line through it, that means, hey, it's hidden from students. They don't have access to that. All right, so we're going to go ahead and just start with kind of walking you through each of the, the things that the students will do when they log in. So here, right now, it says access your learning path, but before students actually start their learning path, it's going to say build your learning path. And whenever they click on that, it is actually going to take them to the path builder it's the diagnostic or pre-test. And in it, they're going to be asked, I think it's 33 questions, multiple choice. And at the end of those 33 questions, they are going to have to click Submit Test. Let's see if it'll let me go ahead and do this. Yeah. All right. So I'm just going to arbitrarily, pick some answers here just so you can see what it looks like. All right. And if I try to submit the test early, it's going to give me not 1, but 2 warnings. All right. So it'll give those to students too. All right. So after I took the pre-test, it's going to show me what I need to work on and what I mastered. And obviously I was picking answers at random, so I need to complete all 13 modules, which are listed down here. Anytime you see this pencil mark, that means that the student, of course, needs to complete that module. If you see a star, that means that the module has, in fact, been mastered by that student. So students in your learning support class may have different numbers here, okay? Maybe somebody's mastered 3 and needs to study 10. Maybe another student needs to study, 3 and has mastered 10. It's going to vary depending on the student. So we're going to go back to our learning path, which looks like this. And these are your individual modules listed here. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one that I haven't entered yet. So avoiding common subject and verb errors. All right, so you'll notice this thing up at the top called the prerequisite skills check. So a student could click on this and actually have another opportunity to test out of that module. So in total, students have 2 opportunities to test out. They can take the pretest or diagnostic, okay, where they build their learning path. And then under each module, they can also take the prerequisite skills check and try to test out in that way. All right, so the actual module here, this one consists of 10 topics on the side, and each topic is going to consist of an overview, an animation, or one recall exercise, one application exercise, one optional writing assignment exercise, and then the post-test. The post-test will determine whether the student has actually mastered that module or not. The student must make at least a 70% or higher in order to master the module. They do have 2 attempts, and you can see your attempts listed there. All right, so I'm going to walk you through each of these, just kind of give you a preview. The overview is going to be just basic kind of text instruction, but there's also an audio component, so it is in fact accessible. The animation is going to deliver similar instruction, but in video format. The recall exercise is going to consist of questions that students can answer, and while they are doing that, they can get question help, okay? So they can consult the animation or the glossary, and when they click an answer or what they believe to be the answer, they can actually check it down here, and if it's incorrect, it will show you why in fact it's incorrect. So this is very helpful for students. The application is going to look quite different. No longer multiple choice. We're going to have a paragraph where they actually have to, in this case, they're going to identify the subject of each sentence. All right. So if they get it right, it's going to, show up in green. If they get it wrong, it's going to tell them that it's incorrect. Here, they can also ask for hints or view the question helps of the animation or the glossary again. Again, the writing assignment is optional, completely optional, but it consists of several prompts where students can respond to those prompts, and then you can manually grade it. And then the post-test, they're not going to have, again, access to hints or anything like that. I'm just going to click through, again, a couple of them so we can see what it looks like. All right. So each of the module looks like this. Once a student has mastered, hopefully, subjects and verbs here, he or she can move on to the next, and then the next, and the next, and the next, and so on. All right. So as students, they can view a couple things from diagnostic study modules on this drop-down menu. They can look at their learning path, okay, so that's what we just accessed previously, or their completed work as well. So those are 2 features that students can look at, okay. If we go back to the main menu, we also see that a feature students can access is Smart Thinking. And Pearson gives students through MyWritingLab 3 free submissions to Smart Thinking tutoring. This might open the door for online tutoring for a student. They can submit paragraphs, they can submit essays, they can submit rough drafts, final drafts, whatever, okay? And if it opens the door, then you can direct them to their own ChargerNet account. After they log in, if they click My tab, and then on the left-hand side, click the Smart Thinking icon, they have unlimited submissions to Smart Thinking through Columbia State. They might find that helpful. All right, so that's it really for students, except for the student help that they have access to under Course Tools. Under Course Tools, two things that you'll want to familiarize yourself with are the gradebook and alerts. Those are really the only two that you'll need to know anything about. The gradebook, I would recommend going to all assignments here, because then you can then divide it up by specific assignments, or you can overview, just like the whole class, so you can look at individual student rosters. You can also look at the class performance by module, which could be really helpful if they're really struggling on one. You can do a mini lecture or something like that to remediate. One other tool here that you may use when you do overview by student, maybe a student, you want to award them credit for mastery because they're struggling, but maybe they've demonstrated that they have mastered that skill in another way. You can award credit for mastery here, but that's really the only thing on the gradebook tools list that you'll ever click. Something else that you can do from this menu is, and I don't have access to it right now because no students are actually enrolled in the course yet, but you can, once students have been populated into your courses, go ahead and award those students either extra attempts on assignments, or you can change their scores manually. And you'll want to, of course, try to limit that, because once you open that door, it might be very difficult to shut. But once students are enrolled in your course, there will be another option here that says Actions, and each student will have a drop-down menu, where from that menu you can change scores for different activities that they've completed. You can also, from the Actions drop-down menu, select Settings per Student, use individual student settings, and then actually change the number of attempts awarded. So again, you really want to limit the number of attempts. Right now it's at 2, but if it's looking dire and they need, another attempt or 2, you can change that in the grade book. And again, it can all be done just from this menu here and whenever you have your actions column. All right, so the last thing that I'm going to show you here is the alerts page. And this is where, if your student hasn't accessed the course in a couple of days or weeks or months, it'll show up under inactivity. If a student has completed one of those optional writing assignments and you have to manually grade it, it'll show up under work needs grading. And then if a student has exhausted all of his or her resources and hasn't achieved mastery, so they've exhausted their attempts, it will show up here. And you'll also have, of course, the actions menu here, where you can very easily identify students who need an extra attempt and assign that extra attempt here. Okay, so there are a couple different ways that you can, or a couple different places, I should say, that you can take action on a student's account. All right, so that concludes the tutorial. MyWritingLab, it's pretty simple to navigate. There are only a few features that you really need to familiarize yourself with. And I hope that this tutorial has been helpful. Thank you.